just continues.
All right, welcome guys to the first episode of Talking Tridents, a Mariners podcast, where we're going to talk about everything Mariners and our thoughts on the offseason. Let's jump right into it.
All right, my first question, Devin. If you were to give the Mariners a grade for this offseason, what grade would that be? I have a letter in mind. I'm curious to see what you have to say.
This offseason so far has not been ideal, to say the least, but honestly, I'm not mad about it yet. Well, we haven't made any moves. I mean, the biggest move we made was what, Donovan Solano?
3.5 mil incentives for one extra mil. We'll see. It's hard to give a grade above a C when your top signing is a 37-year-old man.
Yeah,
37-year-old player
who is not even going to be a everyday player, most likely. I mean, so far, there's not really much to grade, honestly.
Yeah.
I would say a C so far. Let me tell you why. Because I feel like we're still going to make a move.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like...
An impact move at that.
An impact move. I feel like there's still time, and the best is yet to come. I feel like Jerry is still...
Jerry's going to cook.
Going to make a move. Jerry's going to cook. He's going to cook. You know how he has been in the past. He likes to trade. I mean, I'm not mad about it. I feel like every player that has come and gone in free agency that we missed out on, I don't think they're...
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Your grade's a lot more optimistic than mine. I give them a solid D. And no D+, no D-, none of that. The reason being is they haven't filled any of the lurking holes that are on the roster right now.
No, we haven't.
You know, we talked about Donovan Solano a minute ago, and yeah, he's a great versatile guy who can play multiple positions. But guess what? You have a Mitch Haniger who's going to his 34-year-old offseason.
Yeah.
Who's costing $16.5 million, if not more. You have Mitch Garver, who's at best a backup catcher and a pinch hitting role every once in a while. And now you had another 30-plus-year-old in Donovan Solano. You're looking at three guys who are not athletic, who have shown experience of hitting in the past. That doesn't fill your hole.
No, it doesn't.
Start of the offseason, you had first base, second base, and third base all open. And so far, you have filled it with a guy who can play all three positions, mind you. He's hit a 280 average clip recently. But that's it.
Tell me why the Mariners, they're building the team for youth, right? We have the young pitching staff. Mm-hmm. Their whole plan is, we want young, controllable guys, right?
We have the number one farm system in the major leagues on multiple sources.
Then why do we have Mitch Haniger, Mitch Garver, and now Donovan Solano on the roster?
That's a good question for Trader Jerry. I think he's the only one that can answer that question. In my opinion, to make a roster solid, you have to go after... Look what the Royals have done. They have their veteran guys in Perez, but then they also have their young guys like Witt, who are fast and athletic. We had Samad Taylor, who just was recently DFA'd.
Yeah.
He should have been on the Major League roster, in my opinion. Fast, athletic, and versatile. Mariners need to get more athletic. That's actually one of my bullet points on why they got a D in the offseason.
I mean, I agree with that. Right, as of right now, the way the roster's looking, our bench sucks. I mean, our bench is slow.
That's looking nice.
Solano, like you said,
33, 34, and 37-year-olds are three of your 5 bench spots.
And both the Mitches are slow.
Yes.
And coming off terrible seasons. I mean, we all know how we and everyone feels about Mitch Garver.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Mitch Garver bounce back season kind of guy. He's gonna produce in a way where he's gonna be seeing regular playing time. He's gonna see 100 games, 300 plate appearances, backup catching every 4th day. That's where I see him right now. But the only, and you have alluded to this a little bit in your offseason grade. The only thing I am happy about the offseason is we have not given any unnecessary bad contracts out yet.
No, we
haven't seen us go out and sign Pete Alonso for 5 years, $150 million, because he's not going to be good for the next 5 years.
No, he's not. I would love to get Pete Alonso, but also I'm not a huge we have to get Pete Alonso. I want Pete Alonso. No, I don't think he's...
He helps in the immediate year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
But beyond that, he's not an asset. And I know the Mariners are trying to build, at least from what we read and see online, they're trying to build a dynasty. They want to build a team that can be consistently good like the late 90s, early 2000s Mariners, where from 94, before we were born, to 2003, they were in the contention every year.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm not mad because we haven't had any terrible trades yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone's talking about Castillo getting traded, which I'm not opposed to. If the deal's right, I'm happy about it. I'd be down for it.
We know Jerry DePoto will say yes if the deal even has some ability to turn out their way.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm for a Castillo trade this offseason. I think my prediction is going to be to the Orioles for someone like Jordan Westberg, which I feel like we should get a little more in return also along with that, but I don't know. I think getting a young bat who's major league ready, I think is going to be a bigger help to us than Castillo will be. I mean, you saw what Kobe Mayo on the Orioles just ranked first and third baseman prospects, right? So
I saw that too.
They have the depth at infield, especially that they can offer us something in return for Castillo. So I think.
Well,
I think that's one team we should be targeting a trade for because they need the pitching, right? And they don't. I mean, their roster is so deep in bats that
Mariners
they can't start everyone, and we apparently our young guys are not ready to come up like Cole Young, who I think I'd like to see.
He should be in the conversation this year. Maybe not out of spring training, not on the opening day roster, but looking into early summer, June, July, I can see him very well in that conversation.
Yeah,
especially if no more serious acquisitions are made at second base.
Yeah.
We just talked about Castillo a little bit, and this was one of my questions. So we already gave the grade of the offseason. Let's say we do a trade. Let's say Castillo goes to the Orioles, because that's where I had him going to on my research. I had him going to the Orioles.
I think it makes sense.
You said Jordan Westberg. Let's look at Jordan Westberg's stats last year. He had just under 450 plate appearances, 15 bombs, 57 RBIs, on base percentage of 316, OPS of 772. So just below league average. League average is right around 780, 790.
What was his batting average again?
He played solid defense. His batting average was 263.
Still better than everyone on our roster last year except Victor Robles and Julio. So
I mean, and think about this. He was one of their all-star representatives.
He was an all-star, yeah. He was an all-star, yeah.
So let's say I agree. Jordan Westberg straight up for Castillo is light. But Castillo has a track record. He has a very friendly contract going in. There's 2 more guaranteed years and a third-year option. So 3 years of Castillo for one guy who has 4 years of team control. It's almost straight up. Obviously, the only difference is the contract, the annual. So
right.
You have it for him. My idea, I said, trade Castillo to the Orioles. Get Ryan Mountcastle back. Mountcastle and a low-level, high upside prospect. Someone who you can put down in AA, AAA, who could be contending next year. Saves you the contract money, so you can maybe go out and get a guy like Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays first base along with Mountcastle. Maybe you switch and say, hey, we can go get Bregman now. Those 3 years, we can get Bregman a 2-year deal for $60 million with an opt-out, and you throw him in there. Or you can trade for someone like Nolan Arenado.
Pull up Ryan Mountcastle's stats.
Mountcastle, let's take a look. He's still a young player. He's only been in the league for 4 years now.
Yeah.
So last year, in his age 27 season, he hit 271. Immediately slots him in the top 3 Mariners batting averages.
Yeah.
He hit 13 home runs, 63 RBIs. His OPS was a little lower at 733, but he plays above average defensive, and he's obviously an upper level bat in the Mariners lineup.
Yeah.
You can put him right into the 3 or 5 hole immediately.
Yeah. I like Mountcastle. Tell me why, though. I don't know. It just seems... I don't know. I feel like Castillo's, more value than just Mountcastle. But I like getting a prospect too.
I think we see Castillo's value. It peaked before this last year.
Yeah.
2023 offseason would have been a
Yeah.
time to capitalize on him.
Yeah.
The only benefit now is that he has a friendly contract. We see guys out here like, what was it, Sean Manaea signing 3 years, like $65 million.
Yeah.
And he had over 4 ERA this year?
I think so. The sad thing is Castillo signed a team-friendly deal for his caliber of a pitcher. He should be making more. And we still need to and we're still trying to salary dump him, and we still can't afford him. It's to be able to fill the holes that we need in the infield, which is crazy. I don't know, but I wouldn't be mad for him for Mountcastle and another prospect. I mean,
yeah, right here, Sean Manaea, 3 years, $75 million. If we look at Luis Castillo, his contract right now, I know that there's 2 guaranteed years. I believe there's a third-year option from this year on.
Yeah.
So this year he's making 24. Next year, oh no, look at it. It's 3 years plus a 4th-year option. So the next 3 years he's making $24 million. So that's 3 years, $72 million right there. So you're already $3 million south of Manaea right there.
Yeah, and Castillo's
better.
$25
million option if he vests in his innings. And
yep.
It doesn't say on here what the vesting is. He has to have 180 innings pitched in 2027. This last year, I believe he threw just under that. So I mean, I see both the trades happening. I mean, either way, it fills a hole for the Mariners.
I agree. I wouldn't be mad about either one. Say we get Mountcastle, say we get someone like Jordan Westberg.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would be mad about it. I mean, the rest of our pitching staff is. I love the rest of our pitching staff. So Castillo, unfortunately, is kind of the guy that I'm okay with getting rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
he's the odd man out this year.
Yeah, I think now is a time, like you said, last year or last offseason, his value was even higher.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, his value is a little less now. I think if we wait again, his value is going to be less, unfortunately. So I think now's kind of the time we have to capitalize on something. And
I mean, this is the offseason. Mariners made the playoffs 2022 on a serial.
Sadly.
3 seasons ago now.
Yeah.
And after that offseason, we thought, hey, they're going to make the move for the impact bat. They're going to make it happen. And who did they acquire? Who was it? Colton Wong. We had Jesse Winker, Suarez.
Yeah.
Hey, we love you, Suarez.
Yeah.
Come back, please. But
Suarez was the only guy that worked out. Winker, I was excited to get him, and we got him. No, we don't know how that worked
other than
out.
an awesome run of 14 games won in a row from his brawl. I mean,
yeah, he started the electric factory, but other than that.
But going back to Castillo, I mean, let's say we trade him for a Jordan Westberg. We'll just say young player, lots of control. I think that's more likely than Ryan Mountcastle.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mountcastle only has 2 years left in arbitration, and doesn't play as high a caliber as Westberg.
Right.
Let's say we get Westberg. Obviously he slots right into third base.
Yep.
Right. He's probably batting
Easy.
5 or 6. He's not one of your best bats, but he's there. He's going to contribute every day.
Yeah.
But then you save $24 million a year for the next 3 years on Castillo. What would you do with that money then?
Yeah. Who do you sign then? Do you sign someone in current free agent right now?
I know who I'm signing in a current free agent right now. I'm signing Pete Alonso. Bring the polar bear over.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
Have a great connection over the years in the home run
derby. Yeah, you remember that.
Also, there's been rumors that the Mets offered him 3 years for $90 million.
Yeah, he turned it down.
He turned it down, but I think the Mariners can up that a little bit. I think we could do 3 years for $105 million with a 4th-year player option for another $30 million in there.
Yeah.
So the 4th-year option will be a little lower, but that gives them a chance to make some money these next couple years, be in a contention window with the Mariners. We even after the Sasaki signing, the Mariners have the best rotation. You can hold me to that at the end of the season, but I think that if you went out and trade Westberg, you try to do another dump and maybe see if Haniger can go to the Marlins.
That'd be nice.
To the Marlins for a little bit.
I would give him away for
a loaf of Wonder Bread for Mitch Haniger. I'm happy. Yeah,
I would. Yeah. I'd be fine with that. Just take his contract. At the best, and be gone. I mean, we have
save 16 from Haniger. You save 24 from Castillo. You
Yep.
trade for Westberg. I think his arbitration's around $3 or $4 million right now, just because of how long he's been in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And then you immediately throw in a $30 million contract of Pete Alonso. I mean,
Yeah.
you're in the clear $6 million right there.
Yep.
Because you're at
That's
34 versus 40.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's a really good way to set yourself up. Yes, it's going to be hard to see Castillo go.
Yeah.
He's definitely a formidable force in that rotation, but
Yep.
I think Hancock's ready to eat some innings. I don't think he's going to be a stud. He's going to be a 4.5 ERA guy, going out throwing hopefully 5+ innings every outing, and
Yeah.
he kind of covers that. So
Yeah. Back to the Orioles trade really quick. Let's say I would love to sign Pete Alonso, but let's be real. I don't think the Mariners will sign Pete Alonso.
I don't think Pete Alonso.
I don't think he would come to
No.
Seattle. I don't think so, unfortunately. I think that Marine layer would be to eat him up. But let's say, realistically, our options are trade Castillo for a package that included Ryan Mountcastle for first, or Tyler Locklear. How do you feel about Tyler Locklear?
I think Tyler Locklear does have the potential. I don't think he's ready yet. And
We saw him a little bit last year.
We saw him a little last year. He struggled. I mean,
Yeah.
He had a few good games. He played really solid defense.
Yeah,
That
he's
was a
good at
benefit.
defense,
But we already had a defensive first baseman in Evan White, and where's he now?
Yeah, where is he now?
Angels AAA system.
Yeah. Same with Ty
So-
France. We had to.
Same with Ty France. He's unsigned.
Yeah.
I would be
I
okay with
would
the
bring
reunion.
Ty France. Hot take from me.
Will he come
I wish we did not release Ty France last year.
Yeah.
I think that was stupid. I agree. He had some struggles, obviously, but he's better than any of our other options, and I liked him.
I agree.
Tyler Locklear, didn't he rank in the top 10 of
He was
first base
10th.
prospect?
He was 10th. Yeah, he's still. I think he's just outside of a top 100. I think he's like 110 to 125 or something like that. But
I just don't think I don't know. I don't think he's
Yeah.
going to be good, unfortunately.
I mean, worst,
I think he's like
worst
an Evan
case
White
scenario.
type.
Let's say we do the Orioles trade with Westberg. Let's say you can't sign Alonso. You can't trade for Brandon Lau. You can't go get Yandy Diaz. The Rays have already said they're not trading their guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyler Locklear and Luke Raley is not bad. There's your lefty righty right there. I mean,
Oh, yeah, Luke Raley.
I also, and again, I know you're not a Mitch Garver fan.
God, Mitch Garver at first, don't even say that.
If he got 40 starts a year at first base, Luke Raley got the bulk of the rest. Give Tyler Locklear some time. I think that's if you do that, I give first base a C at that point. Luke Raley, I really like Luke Raley. I'm a Luke Raley believer.
I'm not.
2 solid seasons back to back with inconsistent playing time, especially for the first 40 games of the year last year. So
Yeah, but he had more consistent playing time with the Rays, right, before he came here.
yeah,
And
yeah. He had his best year with the Rays. I can
Yeah.
see that. Let's pull up Luke Raley's stats right now. I know we oppose on the Luke Raley.
maybe on the bench, okay, but not. I don't know.
I just saw Cal Raleigh's name. Speaking of, extend him.
Yeah,
Extend
100%.
That we're gonna get to that here in a minute.
I have another question involving Cal Raleigh after this Tyler
after Luke
Locklear.
Raley. Okay, so I want to hear
Luke Raley,
your predictions. What do you think his WAR was?
Luke
this
Raley
year.
last
played.
year?
Yes, he played 137 games, 243 batting average. His OPS was 783, which is league average, if not slightly above, and he hit 22 bombs.
Probably 4.
Okay, that was a little generous. He had a 3.2.
Okay.
But you were just speaking about the Rays. He had a 2.8 WAR on that year. He played 20 less games. You could account for that and say it makes up for it. But
I will say he was clutch last year.
very
Tell me
close.
like big moments he came up.
Especially down the stretch.
Yeah,
going
he
to
did.
The postseason. Yeah, he was.
Doubles. He always
that was
hit
special.
doubles.
And Safeco needs players who are going to hit doubles.
Yeah.
It's a big outfield. The fences are not where they should be,
Yeah.
and the Marine layer obviously does its own thing there. So, I think we've given a good thought. Offseason.
I still don't like him. I don't want him.
You want Luke Raley?
No, I don't want him.
Well, he's on the team. I think offseason could be better. We still have some time. Today's what, the 21st of January. We have about just under a few weeks until pitchers and catchers report. A lot of players are going to want to get that experience. I don't think everyone's going to hold out like Blake Snell did last year. That's just not realistic.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of high caliber names that aren't Alonso and Bregman anymore.
Yeah.
That are free agents. So
Yeah.
So
But I'm not mad at the offseason so far. I'm still hopeful that we're gonna.
Optimistic.
I'm optimistic that we're going to sign or make a big trade coming soon. I think I'm not mad that we missed out on players that have gone off the table so far. I'm not. I want Alec Bohm still.
Alec Bohm would be interesting. He's a doubles hitter, like we just talked about.
I just think that's my guy.
He's going to cost too much. Remember, did you hear what the Phillies were asking for in return?
No. What?
George Kirby or Logan Gilbert in return. Alec Bohm has 2 years of team control left.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
That's not happening.
No.
You're not even getting Brian Wu. You're not getting Brian. You can have Castillo.
You can have Castillo straight up for Alec Bohm.
And I'd even take Talon Walker back. He slots at your fifth guy.
Yeah.
He's excelled with us. Our pitching staff, our pitching development has always found a way to turn guys into studs.
Yeah.
So.
But back to, or pivot to Cal Raleigh, our catcher situation.
I just said extend Cal Raleigh. So you already have my answer to this question, but with who's currently on the Mariners roster, who is the next person you go out and extend to a meaningful contract? I'm not talking Julio mega contract. I'm sorry, Cal Raleigh's still not worth Julio money. He's just not. He is 4 or 5 years older.
Yeah,
has a shorter span of.
Hey, fourth best catcher in the MLB right now.
He should have been top 2, but we take what we can.
Dude, Will Smith, come on.
Seriously.
It's just because he's on the Dodgers.
Who's the next Mariner
guy
you extend to a meaningful contract? Not like a Victor Robles one, but a meaningful.
Yeah, like a
contract.
meaningful. Yeah.
Raleigh.
I would extend Cal Raleigh over.
Okay.
Sorry, over Gilbert.
Gotcha.
Over my first meaningful extension,
Cal Raleigh.
including Cal Raleigh, is Cal Raleigh.
Okay.
And then next would be look at the pitching, Gilbert, even George Kirby. But go ahead.
Miller too. No.
Bryce Miller, yes. I think he's a little less. He's like a tier under.
Earlier, but yes, Cal Raleigh's included.
At least I think you said that earlier.
These are the reasons I think Cal Raleigh is your next extension.
100%.
How often do you find a guy who can not only frame pitches, who's durable enough to catch 130 plus games a year at a high level, not just at hey, he's there, he's behind the plate and he's catching the ball, congrats.
Yeah.
No, he's throwing guys out. He's making great calls. He's a leader in that infield. Him and JP lead that infield right now.
Yeah.
And he can hit some nukes out to right field.
I know. I mean, with our pitching staff, he's a huge part of their success as well. I love Cal Raleigh.
I think the Mariners have had a good track record in developing pitchers. I think if we had to let Gilbert and Kirby walk, we'd be okay.
I would keep Cal Raleigh over Gilbert.
We have some really exciting prospects coming up right now, and if you lose Kirby and Gilbert, you're gonna have Bobby you're gonna have a Miller and Wu. I mean, they're gonna be at the end of their contracts, but we've developed pitchers fine, and this has been consistent over the last decade or two.
Yeah.
So Cal Raleigh, and if I was to give a number for Cal Raleigh, catchers don't sign big contracts. Like what did Will Smith sign recently? So I think you're looking at a little bit higher than Will Smith's contract. Because Will Smith, he's a solid catcher. So he
is.
He signed at 10 years, $140 million. Mariners are not giving 10 years to a catcher.
No, I wouldn't either. Even Cal Raleigh, I wouldn't give 10 years.
But I think the $140 million is pretty realistic.
Yeah, I think so. For Cal Raleigh's caliber, I think so.
Would you say 5 years, $140 million is reasonable?
I would say 6 years, 140.
Yeah.
I think is reasonable.
I would do 5.
Yeah, I mean, I would do 5 too, but I think I'd like to get 6. Just get one extra year. I guess I don't know. I would like to see 6, but
Cal Raleigh. Not only is he a contributor on the field, but off the field, in that clubhouse, you really need someone, especially after Suarez was traded away to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
you need a leader. JP is just not what he was 3 years ago.
No, unfortunately, I think
he's going to have a solid season again this year. You're going to see him around the 105, maybe 110 WRC plus, but we're not going to see him at that level. I think he had 140 WRC plus that year.
Yeah.
By WRC plus standards, he had a better year than Julio's rookie year that year.
Yeah,
which is hard to believe. Crazy. That's how good JP was that year. It was an outlier, but
I think JP is. I like JP, but I think he's a little overrated, honestly.
Yeah. When you take into account he's only making $10 million as a starting shortstop,
then
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Yeah. Exactly.
Those are the people the Mariners should be looking to fill their spots. You don't have to go out and get all these stars. If you have 9 JPs out there, again, I know he didn't have a great year last year, but let's say you have 5 JPs, a Julio, a Cal Raleigh, and then two fillers like Dylan Moore and Ryan Bless, right?
Yeah.
that makes your team significantly better.
Yeah.
Right now, we're slotting in some names that should not be getting more than 100 to 150, maybe 200 plate appearances a year.
Yeah.
So
if that. So I want to go back to Cal Raleigh for a minute.
Yeah.
And kind of get our thoughts or your thoughts on the catching situation this upcoming season.
Okay.
So Cal Raleigh, obviously, what I want, Cal Raleigh, obviously,
number 2 best.
your starter. Yeah. Your everyday catcher.
Harry Ford.
What I want to do is bring up Harry Ford. I want to, if we don't sign, let's say we don't sign anyone for first base this offseason, we don't make any improvements there, why not have Harry Ford transition him to first?
I think the main reason Harry Ford at first base does not make sense, and this is just through my research, he's not the biggest guy.
No, he's not.
He's 5'10", 200 pounds. He's very athletic. First base, I think you need a little more height there. Luke Raley's 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
Even Mitch Garver's 6'1", I think.
Yeah, but do you really want Harry Ford taking? How are you going to have Harry Ford and Cal Raleigh sharing time behind the plate? I mean, Harry Ford obviously isn't he hasn't played yet in MLB, so we don't know. But you need Cal behind the plate. I mean, I would like to say Cal Raleigh is a better fit to transition to first base, right? But I don't want him at first base. I want him behind the plate. He needs to be behind the plate. Harry Ford, I want to see him up. And I think, where else is he going to go? I mean, I don't want him as a backup.
I read an article. This is actually recently I read this article.
Second base?
No, Mariners were looking at him as a potential corner outfielder down the line.
Really?
I know our outfield's pretty stacked. You know, we have Arozarena in left. We have Julio in center and Robles in right. Luke Raley as your fourth man as needed. But let's say if we're reading into this and making this happen, Harry Ford comes up. Harry Ford's your backup catcher and your fifth outfielder.
Yeah.
He is a guy who can come off the bench and pinch run. I mean, he had 35 stolen bases last year in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And I think Cal Raleigh should be extended. So let's say we're going through that theory, right? Cal Raleigh is extended.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Ford does not have an instant route to the MLB. Corner outfielder, well, we're going to need that soon. Arozarena is on his last year of arbitration, I think. Robles has only a 3-year contract.
Say Robles doesn't work out, or
then you throw Harry Ford in there as in right field.
Yeah,
he obviously has an arm. He's a catcher.
Yeah,
he's fast, 35 stolen bases, and obviously the wear and tear on his body would be less in the outfield versus behind the plate.
Yeah, well, I know he's athletic, and I know they've talked about him playing a different position. So
the league was very high on Ford about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
looking at his numbers right now, back in Single A Modesto, 2022, he hit 274. 11 bombs, and his OPS was 863.
It's good.
There's something there. I see where you're coming from. Him coming up could benefit the team mid-season.
Yeah.
He hasn't seen AAA at-bats yet. Last year was his first year in AA.
Mm-hmm. I know he's not MLB ready yet, but, I mean...
He could be close, though.
Yeah.
He could be close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like I said, to start... I'm not giving up hope on the Mariners this offseason. I think we're still in store for a big trade, a big acquisition. I think Castillo's going to be gone in the coming weeks, honestly.
Well, you know what? So that's a good way to end the episode, I think. And when we see you next time, hopefully we have some news. Because if we see a Castillo to the Orioles, if we see Pete Alonso, Bregman in a Mariners uniform, we're going to have some things to talk about.
Would you like to get Alex Bregman? I mean, I would like to get him, but the Mariners are not going to get Alex Bregman.
But he makes the team better.
He makes the team better. I don't necessarily want him either.
Significantly better.
But he's not going to be a Mariner. Alex Bregman. Mariners will not sign Alex Bregman.
So,
but
with that, I think though we have a good idea of where the Mariners are looking like. It's not an exciting offseason by any means. You know, it's not
yet.
It's not yet. It's not a 2012 when Robinson Cano was signed. It's not that. But there's still things that are yet to happen. With Sasaki signing recently, I think a lot of pieces are now in motion. So we're going to see some exciting things coming up.
I agree. I think so.
Episode 2 is going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I already know.
I think so.
Yeah. Thank you for listening, and hopefully they make some trades.